soft scalability. Like most of the young people, they think that like if their idea is great, that they think this is the innovative idea, and but why I didn't get selected for this one? Like they got really angry to the judges of like I've seen those kind of young people a lot in some competition. So
No, look, I mean, I'll give you an
so
example. I mean, we
what's your opinion?
yeah, look, I think there's multiple reasons why someone says yes to someone and no to someone, right? When it comes, and it's the same with, when you go to a VC for asking for funding, it all depends on whether you're in the right place at the right time. Because again, let's face it, there is a lot of venture capitalists as well as investors. They may be good at one aspect of one type of business, one industry, but they don't understand every industry. They don't understand every business. So sometimes you just happen to be pitching yourself to the wrong person, and they don't truly understand your business idea. It doesn't mean you don't have merit. It's just you've got to be able to convey your message to not just people from the industry, but from outside the industry as well. Right. That's one aspect. I can give you an example. I was recently judging at a very prestigious global university, similar sort of accelerator plus competition. And one of the teams that I was mentoring, I mean, if you ask me from my perspective, I believe they should have won the finals. And they did reach the finals, but they actually didn't win the finals. But again, it comes down to perspective of how they pitch themselves at that moment. I wasn't there at that final pitch, but how they pitched themselves, how they presented themselves, and also whether the judges could actually relate to what they were pitching, right? So there's a lot of things that come into that. There's no point kind of losing hope. If you believe you've got a great product, if you believe that you can actually scale, you believe you can actually make a difference to a problem that exists, this round may not have worked, but you may end up winning at a much bigger stage, if you put your effort behind. So I would say don't lose hope. Obviously, sometimes a product or a solution just doesn't make any sense, right? And at that point, I think maybe it's a good thing that you got told no, because maybe you need to go back and reassess whether this actually makes sense or not from a long-term perspective, right? So there is a bit of both. But if you've got a good product and that is scalable, then don't lose hope, I would say. Keep working at it.
Yeah, that's a really great advice. So, well, another question is that what's the three things that makes your business grow? So, also, what's your three advice to the young founder?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, one is obviously you need customers. You need to be able to scale your business where you've got enough customers to generate profits. So I think growing a business is important in the sense of you need to be able to make a profit. I mean, these days there's a lot of businesses out there which don't make profits, and the long-term horizon is very far out for them to be able to make a profit. So I would say profitability is obviously very important when it comes to running a business and making a business grow, which leads to the first point, which is you need customers and you need good customers. So you need customers that you can keep satisfied. So your customer is king in the sense that you have to be able to keep them satisfied in the product offering that you've got or the service offering that you've got, because ultimately they are the ones who are paying for the service or the product. So you have to be. And I would say, last but not the least, is your team. You have to look after your team. You have to make sure that you are helping them grow also through this process. So it's not about you just growing through this process, but they also need to be able to grow and learn through this process. And you have to build a team that wants to stick together and be loyal. right, as a group. And I will add a fourth one. Be cost conscious. Flashy doesn't always win. So you've got to be very tight with the way you spend your money, especially in the early stages of a startup. Don't go sign up to 50 different applications because every startup is doing that. Just because you got a little bit of funding doesn't mean you need to go. If Google Meet works, you don't need to go sign up to multiple other applications like Slack and this and that. A lot of startups make those mistakes. They go do all this and then end up going into the red, not being able to control costs. So yeah.
Thank you. So another thing is that anything that you want to ask for junior startup in the hacker industry. So anything that you want to give some extra advice to young founder who want to start a business in hacker industry.
Healthcare, okay. Look, I mean, healthcare is a complex industry, right? There is a lot of rules and regulations. And then especially if you're doing something in healthcare, I would suggest spend some time working for maybe a larger corporation in healthcare so that you understand a little bit about the business. Unless you are a scientist who's come up with innovative product or a molecule or something like that, then it's different. Yes, I understand you've got the product. Now you need to be able to set that up into a business and do it. But if you don't have that, spend some time working in a healthcare business. It doesn't matter which end, whether it's a hospital end or a product end or in the middle service end, service partner. But spend some time in the industry working because it is very complex. And what works in one country doesn't necessarily work in a different country. So you've got to be able to understand rules and regulations for different markets. But what I would say is that healthcare is such a vast area that there is a lot of opportunity to disrupt. So if you've got the right product and you've got the right service to offer that industry, there is a lot of opportunity because unlike a lot of the industries, healthcare to a great extent is still analog. So, they haven't even reached the internet stage yet in a lot of places, in a lot of processes, right? There's still a lot of paper being used. There's still a lot of taking, things from one place and placing it in another place. So there is a lot of opportunity there. So if you can find solutions that help disrupt a lot of that, yes, there's a lot of opportunity. But I would suggest spend some time in healthcare rather than just jumping in saying, oh, I just saw this video and I think I've got an idea and let me just start doing it. You've got to understand the background of why it works the way it works today.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Now and I can hear you now. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, my last but not least, the question is that intent of finding a mentor for young founder, what's your advice on that one also? We ask for the young founder, they are not very mature to do the business, or they need to have a mentor. So when it comes to find the right mentor, so what's your opinion or suggestion on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think mentors are great. Sometimes I think mentorship gets overrated also a little bit. Everyone's running around looking for a mentor. I think what you need to look for is a guide who can help you sort of, give you different perspectives. So you don't want someone who's just sitting there and saying yes to everything that you are saying or you believe as being true. You don't want that. You need someone, especially if you're a startup founder, you need a mentor or a guide who is willing to challenge your belief, your idea, way of doing it. For the simple reason is because you need that feedback. Because if everyone is telling you, yes, this is great, you end up down a wrong path pretty far out before you realize you made a few mistakes, in the past, and trying to then rectify that becomes a bigger challenge. So I think don't go looking for mentors just for the sake of having a mentor, but look for someone who, they may not agree with you on everything, but they will ask you the right kind of questions, right? It's about finding those kind of individuals who will ask you the right kind of questions and challenge you a little bit. And look, I think where outside of your product or your offering or that is on the team aspect. That I think becomes where I think a mentor can or a guide can actually give you a lot of advice, especially if they've spent some time working in a business, of how to handle people, situations, or other complexities that come up of running a business, right? So I think look for people who are a bit contrary. Don't look for people just because they've got a mentor title behind them. Look for people who are going to challenge you a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you. So before we wrap up, so I would like to ask you one more question. So
Sure.
with that, why?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit. I couldn't.
What? Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello?
Now I can.
Oh, okay. So what's your advice? I mean, last advice for young people who are going to join this competition, this Startup Weekend Yangon?
Yeah, look, I mean, my advice is pretty simple. Believe in yourself, believe in your idea, believe in what you're trying to put together. But whatever you put forward, make sure you're finding a solution to a problem and not trying to build a product that will get you some funding and make you rich, because you won't go too far.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time. And
my pleasure.
Thanks
Anytime. And all the best to all the startups and young entrepreneurs who are sort of joining this program, and this competition. All the best to them.
Thank you for your time, Neel. And thank you for allowing for this kinds of
for your time.
Yep.
Not a problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
all the best,
you,
guys.
I
think
to keep in touch
it's an amazing thing you guys are doing. So, sorry.
I hope to keep in touch with you through LinkedIn. Sorry, my internet connection is not good today.
Please do, yeah. I think we're already connected on LinkedIn, right? So yeah. No, please do stay in touch and let me know if you've got any more follow-up questions or anything like that, and any way I can help. And if any startup wants to speak to me as well, I'm more than happy to help.
Sure. We will arrange for you somebody have any opportunity to connect with you. Okay.
Sure. Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day, Neel. Bye-bye.